So routers are one of my favorite tools for the shop. They're extremely versatile and really used in like basically every project for me. One of the things, or one of the issues I have with them is that they kind of spread out all over the place into whatever spot looks good in the moment to put them down. So I really want to have somewhere in the shop where I can put them all. One of the nice things about shop projects is you can do this in like two different ways. You can go full utilitarian, or you can do kind of a fun furniture technique on your project as a way to try it out and learn something a little different. So this time we're going to do a live edge, folded edge shelf thing. So we'll be able to do a long waterfall joint, and that's going to be a fun little technique to try here in the shop. So let's go find a piece of wood that will actually work for this. I got all kinds of weird stuff. I'm trying to find something that's going to be wide enough and also give me some material I can fold over to make it look thicker and to kind of wrap the grain around the edge, which I think will make it look a little more fun. That'll work. Let's go with this. I got a fun piece of cherry that's going to be plenty wide enough. It's got an interesting grain and shape. Let's make this into something functional. Besides holding up a wall. Try not to die. So I'm thinking for this, like a 4-foot long shelf will probably be big enough for all the routers and future routers because they seem to breed. And for the total depth on the routers, it feels like about 10 inches is kind of like a good number of where the base is going to be. This board being almost 16 wide, this is going to work out pretty well. So I guess we'll get it chopped down a little bit and put one straight edge on here, which is going to go against the wall. So we have our board kind of rough cut to size here, and as you can see, it's wider than my jointer. So I'm going to make a really wide single pass on here. It's going to make a wide rabbet essentially, and then I can use my planer and a sled to plane the other side completely flat, parallel to my little rabbet. And I have a little bit on this side, which I'll remove when I flip the board over in the planer again. And this is a really good technique to get a little bit more extra capacity out of your jointer. Even though this is a big jointer, even big jointers sometimes have a limit. So now we're going to make the waterfall cut so that the board continues over that corner, and the biggest thing with this is removing as little material as possible. So you really want to nail this on the first try so you don't have any additional material being removed during cleanup. So I want this to be like the face of the shelf. I want this edge to wrap around and be the face, so when you're looking at it you see all that edge and the drop off in that edge. So I've gone ahead and I've drawn on the end of the board there the correct orientation of the material that needs to be removed, so I don't screw this up. So I believe the first cut goes something like this. And the biggest thing with this right now is because I'm removing the live edge section, I want that to come off first and be its final cut, because once this comes off, I don't have a good way of like referencing anything to get it cleaned up or make that cut again. So very important to not miscut this, but this is the first cut orientation right here. Okay, so next cut is going to be onto the actual shelf piece, and for this I want the blade to come in along the side of the existing cut so that I don't remove any more material on the face. So you'll see in a second here, as this blade comes in here, this side, the right side of the blade is going to be traveling right along the intersection of this cut and the face of the board. So I have the fence set kind of too far over, so I'm going to start somewhere here in the edge, and you'll see I'll end up with a little bit of a flat. I'll adjust the fence until I get the blade exactly where it needs to be. Just kind of sneak up on it, all sneaky style. So clamping up and gluing these together can be a little bit tricky. So what I've done here is created some clamping cauls, which will allow me to actually clamp these together really tightly and produce a really nice crisp joint. So I just took the offcut that was in here, since that's at 45 degrees. I ripped it in half, so I had enough of these things, and then I just chopped them up, so now I have a bunch of little angle blocks that I can attach to my board. There's a lot of different ways to do this. I'm just gonna glue them directly on here. You can super glue them on, or you can make some longer clamping cauls and clamp the caul to the board or something. This works out just fine since we have a good amount of surface prep to do still anyway. I'll come back, knock these off, and then clean up and plane the excess later on. But having these things glued directly on here allows you to put an immense amount of clamping force across that joint, and it's going to guarantee that you get a really tight, crisp joint, which is pretty critical on something like this. So you want that to be super tight and completely seamless. You don't want anyone to be able to tell that this was one wider board at one point. And of course, with these things, you just gotta make sure you face them in the right direction, because it's always awkward when you go to clamp this up and the block has got the wrong angle, facing the wrong direction. That's always a laughable moment. Nope, almost did it. I almost put the wrong way. So we got this thing all finished, sanded, and ready to go. Our edge here is looking nice and crisp. You can see the grain just like literally flows over that edge. It's a really cool joint. I like that one a lot. Grain continuity at its finest. So we're gonna go on with a little bit of finish here. Protect it a little bit, make it easier to clean, you know, when you clean the sawdust off of all your shelves in the shop, because you do that, right? So with the shelf kind of made, we need some way to actually put up on the wall, so I'm thinking of making some little brackets. So I have these reclaimed barn board things. They're 2x4s from some structure somewhere, don't know what they are. So we're gonna get these things milled up and make basically a little angle bracket thing, a little L with a diagonal brace on there, and that'll be a little bracket that this whole thing will be able to sit on. So run through the machines and clean these up and make them look like they were never in a barn for however long they were there. 100 years or something. Somewhere here. Somewhere in here, okay. It's wood. Nope. This is spot. So a really quick functional project out here in the shop. Having the routers elevated and out of the way and having them actually have a place to go is super nice. I'm really happy with this waterfall edge. It's a really nice technique to try. And these bracket things actually worked out really nicely. I like the angles and the simplicity there. And we got a little crotch figure on here, which should help make the shop more exciting. So for more fun projects like this, make sure you subscribe to the Triton YouTube channel, like the video, and happy woodworking.